Dr. D. Orlando Smith, OB, do solemnly and sincerely affirm
and declare that I will well and truly serve Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and the people of the Virgin Islands
in the office of Minister.
So help me God.
My fellow Virgin Islanders and residents of this territory, my government's first 100 days in office has been completed, and we continue to forge ahead to deliver on our promise to change the direction of these Virgin Islands from a grim, sluggish, and broken economy to one of prosperity for all. Taking stock of achievements during the first 3 months in office is no new phenomenon. Around the world, particularly in democratic nations, it has become common practice for new governments to use the occasion of completing the first 100 days to assess the early steps in the administration's 4-year journey. This practice goes back to the days of the American President Franklin Roosevelt, who was elected to office during the period of the Great Depression. That great leader, during his first 100 days, put in place a vast number of programs designed to help ordinary people who were struggling with poverty and want. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are very much aware, since taking office officially on November 10, 2011, this government has been faced with significant challenges that we have moved swiftly to address in order to fulfill our commitment to the people of these Virgin Islands. We have been consulting with you in several fora. We have been listening to your concerns. We have been collaborating on a number of initiatives with you, and we have kept you in the information loop, providing you with truthful and accurate reports as we journey together to reclaim and restore the greatness of our territory. We have kept the grace of God in our decision-making. We have made a decision in unison, putting these Virgin Islands and you, the people, above ourselves. We know that the multitude is stronger than the king, and that if everyone helps to hold this territory up, then one person does not become tired. So today, I am pleased to report on what we have achieved together so far. During these first 100 days, we have begun to lay the foundation for a package of initiatives aimed at spurring savings, increasing investment, creating new job opportunities, and identifying new revenue measures, all of which combined will drive the economy forward. Let me now look in greater detail at our accomplishments, beginning with my own ministry. We have forged ahead with promoting business development by re-establishing the National Business Bureau to reach out and provide entrepreneurs with developing sustainable businesses. We have been rebuilding the Bureau from the ground up, and we envision it being fully operational within the next few months. We believe that private businesses help to circulate wealth through the economy and can be the main driver for economic growth and development. That is why our journey to financial recovery included the review of trade license processes and procedures that have long frustrated us and stifled our territorial development. We continue to review the trade policy and other relative legislative instruments to better address the development of the private sector. We want to keep money circulating in this economy, and this means providing an enabling environment that allows the private sector to be a more efficient and responsive vehicle to the needs of this economy. That is why we brought forward and aggressively championed an amendment to the Customs Management and Duties Act to lower costs on imported goods to the territory. That is why we ensure that additional ferry service is provided to and from Anegada for 6 days per week for the duration of the tourist season to further stimulate the economy of this sister island. Without a booming economy, we cannot employ people. Without a healthy economy, we cannot build a productive Virgin Islands. and without a thriving economy, we cannot improve the quality of life for all. That is why we have changed the direction of the way we do business and have been fixing this economy by safeguarding our financial services industry. Our consultation with key stakeholders in the financial services industry offered frank and thoughtful ideas and strategies about advancing the industry, and we are already implementing some of the recommendations and have plans in place to move the full agenda forward. Our territory's reputation as a world-class jurisdiction in financial services particularly has hinged on adherence to principles of good governance, accountability and compliance with globally recognized regulatory standards. My government is in the nascent stages of re-establishing the International Affairs Secretariat to advise government on all international economic, social, political, and other developments that affect the long-term interests of the Virgin Islands. We recognize that we must be diligent and vigilant about protecting and promoting the territory's interests in all areas, be they local, regional, or international. Turning to tourism matters, our first 100 days in office have been an intense listening period. Our objective was to hear from stakeholders in what is a diverse industry and the critical issues, concerns, and challenges facing our tourism sector. To begin this process, in mid-December, we appointed a new tourist board with a membership which reflects the broad range and diversity of the local tourism sector. And I am pleased to report that the board has been quite active since its appointment. In early January, the board organized a formal tourism stakeholders consultation, which was well attended, to hear from the industry on a number of topics, ranging from the BVI brand to infrastructural development, to marketing collaboration, to investment in new and existing product offerings, and how the board could be more responsive to stakeholders. As Minister of Tourism, I addressed the stakeholders detailing my government's broad agenda for tourism over the next 4 years. Subsequent to that meeting, I am aware that the board has met with the airlines, ferry operators, have been in contact with and is in considering a proposal from the Dive Association, and just last week joined a delegation led by Minister Vanterpool and met with the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association in Miami on cruise tourism matters. From initial indications, these meetings offer considerable promise for future development of our cruise tourism sector. The board is also focusing on finding solutions to the destination's current challenges in the areas of air access. It has already had a number of consultations with our local carriers and a number of regional operators. This will continue over the next several weeks with a view to finding workable solutions to this ongoing challenge of getting visitors to the BVI. Efforts have also started to reach out to our neighbors in the United States Virgin Islands to discuss matters of mutual concern in the area of tourism, including air access. These efforts are ongoing. The BVI Tourist Board has begun its work to refocus their marketing in the primary markets of the United States and the United Kingdom, or primary markets, while also keeping an eye on the future by moving forward to formally establish a full-fledged marketing and sales presence in Canada and Latin America. The board continues its partnership with the International Finance Center and Shipping Registry, concentrating on capitalizing on synergies in brand and target markets. This partnership will deepen over the next year and beyond as we move to develop the BVI brand globally. The board is also focusing on the development of the destinations product in conjunction with the Premier's office. The initial emphasis and focus is to put in place a structure to better manage the territory's tourism product. Grandin BVI is a holistic venture which includes the improvement of our territory's infrastructure to ensure that we are building a product that is sustainable, productive, attractive, and creative. Since taking office, the Minister for Communication and Works, Honorable Mark Vanterpool, and his team immediately embarked upon a multi-pronged approach to assist with the reinvigoration of Brand BVI by addressing the most pressing infrastructural needs facing the territory. In setting a new direction, we found it necessary to conduct an immediate review of all projects and contractual commitments to ensure that government was obtaining value for public funds. The Ministry immediately commenced reviews of certain policies and procedures that are guided by legislation to determine whether amendments may be needed so as not to frustrate processes in the delivery of critical services. It also became very apparent that there was need to put certain administrative structures in place to create an enabling environment for the proper development of our infrastructure. Again, the goal here was to set a new direction to move these Virgin Islands from grim to prosperity. Indeed, the Ministry of Communication and Works has been quite engaged over the past 100 days in the execution of government development agenda for the next 4 years. We have already begun to brainstorm about different sources of renewable energy, and now with the selection of a new board with a mandate to assist with reducing the cost of living, we are expecting to see the reduction in the high rates of electricity. Ladies and gentlemen, the matter of untreated and uncontained sewage will always be a matter of importance for this government, as we seek to ensure that the environment in which we live is uncontaminated and safe for the habitation of our people. The National Sewage Project, that was a priority of the previous administration and remains a priority for this government, has been put in high gear. Sewer connections and other related works continue on the eastern end of the island of Tortola. The Rotong phase of the project, which includes the replacement of critical pipelines, closed-circuit television surveillance cameras, inspections, and the replacement of pumps in critical areas, will commence within the next 2 weeks. Petty contracts have been signed and materials have been procured. Ladies and gentlemen, we are well on our way with addressing the sewage problems that have plagued us for years. A short-term solution is actively being worked on to replace the Rotong pump station, as well as sewage lift stations in the Purcell and Tobacco Wharf areas by the end of the second quarter of this year. This would bring immediate relief to residents and visitors alike that must traverse these areas. We are currently reviewing all contracts for the provision of desalinated water and related services. We recognize that most companies have large outstanding payments that are due to them before our time. I'm pleased to say that the review period is nearing completion and a policy decision will be taken on what the future relationships with these companies will be. We continue to examine the management structure and operational processes at the Borges Bay Water Plant and are finding effective ways to address the major issues in collaboration with the Water and Sewage Department to ensure continuous supply of potable water. So far, we have put in place a plan to immediately address issues that impede increased revenue collection, such as the existing billing system and water that is unaccounted for. Approval was recently granted for the creation of a senior position for infrastructure research, planning, and development. The individual that occupies this post will be charged with the responsibility of ensuring that infrastructure development in all areas that fall within the ambit of the Ministry's operations are done according to internationally acceptable standards and are based on sound decision-making and the proper research. The proper engineering of roads and the need to improve traffic flows are also part of the job portfolio. The Mans Road widening project was recently restarted after successful negotiations with one of the landowners were concluded in January. Work on this road is necessary in order to alleviate traffic congestion in the Rotong area. The sidewalk project on Lee Road in Virgin Gorda was completed in late December. The Johnson's Gut Road was reopened to vehicular traffic in late December, while the ministry addresses a long-term drainage solution for the flood-prone area. A plan is now being drafted to improve major roadways as well as secondary roads throughout the territory. As finances would allow, existing mitigation measures will be implemented to prevent further erosion to our road networks, particularly on Johnson Dyke and areas such as Ballast Bay, where major washouts have been experienced during the passage of storms in recent years. The proper engineering of bridges and guts is also a matter of priority for the ministry in order to mitigate against the resultant effects of flooding. Making the roads safe to navigate, particularly for pedestrians, is also a priority of the Action Ministry. To this end, one such area of priority is the Paraquita Bay Road adjacent to the H. Lafferty South Community College. Design sketches have already been drawn up and will be shortly presented to Cabinet. Traffic calming solutions are also being developed for other areas in and around Road Town, which has been given some level of priority as a center of commerce. We have conducted successful consultations with residents on Tortola and Virgin Gorda to improve the taxi and livery service industry, which is a critical part of our journey to recovery in fixing tourism. As a result of these meetings, the ministry provided additional administrative support for the Taxi and Livery Commission. A request has been made to augment a dedicated line item in the ministry's 2012 budget that will help to provide further support for the development of a properly functioning secretariat for the Commission in accordance with the 2009 Road Traffic Regulations. We are currently reviewing the Road Traffic Act 2004 in order to make necessary amendments to existing procedures governing the issuance of taxi licenses and license plates, as well as the issuance of driver's licenses that expire at the same time as individuals' work permits. Efficiency, effectiveness, and responsiveness during the times of emergencies through the development of interagency partnerships among critical stakeholders is a new direction for the Fire and Rescue Services Department. As such, ladies and gentlemen, we have been diligently forging ahead with the implementation of current plans for a fully functional emergency call handling center and emergency medical services. We are a government of efficiency and productivity. We continue to support professional training of fire and rescue services personnel. Currently, 2 fire officers are on attachment at the West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Services in the United Kingdom, where they are receiving training in how to respond to major incidents and dealing with hazardous materials. They will also have an opportunity to work closely with the Arson Task Force and high-risk teams. The subject of seaports and harbors was reassigned to the Ministry of Communication and Works from the Ministry of Finance since this government assumed office in November 2011. Since the improvements of our seaports and harbors is a vital component of government's plan for the territory's economic development, the ministry has placed priority on the expansion of the Wickham Skip Road Pier and the upgrading of all other ports of entry, with immediate emphasis being placed on Western Terminal, Rotong Jetty, Spanish Town Dock, Jocelyn Dyke, and Setting Point, Anegada. A consultant has been hired in the ministry and has been concentrating efforts in the area of ports development. To date, several proposals have been received for the cruise pier expansion as well as for the upgrade of the Western Port facility and a lower cost than was previously proposed. These are all carefully being reviewed and will be presented for Cabinet's further consideration. We have held meetings with officials from the Florida Caribbean Cruise Lines Association, including Princess Cruises, Royal Caribbean, Carnival Cruise Lines, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and Holland America, to further strengthen and develop the territory's cruise industry. This was a cross-governmental meeting that included the BVI Tourist Board. The Works Minister has also met with the BVI Ports Authority team. They are working together to improve and increase this important revenue stream. In changing the direction of this territory from grim to prosperity, we have also been addressing the matter of competing ferry schedules between Tortola and St. Thomas. The current situation is inconveniencing passengers who continue to miss their flights. This is not good for a tourism product. We expect to have this problem resolved very soon. The Ministry is very keen to develop the telecommunication industry in the territory to the point where it will become one of the major revenue earners for government. We see the need to continue exploring such possibilities by conducting the necessary research and attracting the right support to make such an idea a reality. The Ministry is working closely with the board of the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission to address the current level of cable TV service that has become a vexing issue for most subscribers who are unable to access certain channels that were available in the past. In January, a meeting was held with the current owners of BVI Cable TV, where the Minister challenged the owners to find ways to access more desirable programming and to improve the current quality of service offered. The Ministry is reviewing proposed draft legislation that was submitted by the TRC last year that could possibly provide a legal solution to the existing concerns. Changing the direction of the territory from grim to prosperity, that is why we work diligently with improving the overall appearance and development of the city of Rotown. Incremental capital improvements work have already commenced. Late last year, the Ministry commenced a cleanup campaign to rid Wickham's Cay and surrounding areas in Rotown of derelict vehicles and garbage in order to make such areas more aesthetically pleasing. A project was also started to improve parking facilities in the area adjacent to the Rotown helipad. Work slowed in recent weeks so as to allow for proper design that would also include a dedicated turning lane for motorists. Plans are also being developed within the Ministry to widen all sidewalks in Rotown and make them more accessible for the physically challenged. The vendor stands across from the cruise pier has become an eyesore and does not present a good image of the territory. The Ministry is currently exploring possible solutions to this problem. Plans for the improved lighting of Rotown are also being reviewed in order to improve safety at nights. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a government of action, and we are a government for the people. We will continue to move ahead with the work of the people, fulfilling the promises we have made, working side by side with our committed team of public officers and you, the public that we serve. As you know, the well-being of our people means putting in place a healthcare system that works. Ladies and gentlemen, an often repeated phrase is that the health of the nation is the wealth of the nation. It is beyond argument that all of our institutions and infrastructures would be meaningless without a healthy population. That is why this government continues to put an emphasis on achieving our goals for the general improvement of our healthcare and social development sectors. Under the leadership of Honorable Ronnie Skelton, I am pleased to report that the Ministry of Health and Social Development is forging ahead in its efforts to complete a number of infrastructural development projects, as well as strengthen existing programs to improve the overall health and social well-being of the people of this territory. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a number of infrastructural works of great significance that will be completed in the health and social services sector during the course of this administration. However, it is obvious that we cannot initiate or complete every project during our first year in office. That is why the Ministry of Health and Social Development has reassessed its major capital program and determined the following priority areas as we move forward in this first year: the completion of the New People's Hospital, the construction of a modern medical facility on Virgin Gorda, the construction of a new senior citizens home at Spooners Estate, and the completion of the North Zone Community Center, Phase 1. Ladies and gentlemen, the completion of the New People's Hospital structure has also taken on a new sense of urgency, with a target date for completion within the next 18 months. Towards this end, we have taken steps to strengthen the project management team, and I'm pleased to announce the appointment of an additional engineer, Ms. Shana Smith, to augment the technical expertise available on the project. We have also embarked on efforts to further strengthen the technical capacity of the project office within the coming months. These measures are aimed at ensuring that the requisite skills are brought to bear to ensure that the New People's Hospital is successfully delivered to the people of the Virgin Islands on time and within budget. Ladies and gentlemen, while we work to complete the new hospital, the people of this territory deserve the best possible care from our existing facilities. For that reason, in tandem with construction works on the New People's Hospital, we are making improvements to the physical amenities and services at the existing hospital. Work has recently commenced to provide much needed additional space for medical specialist clinics, and would significantly increase the number of weekly clinics offered. The additional space would accommodate expanded renal, chronic care, and gynecological clinics, as well as much needed specialized medical services in areas such as urology, neurology, cardiology, and ear, nose, and throat. My fellow Virgin Islanders, improving the standard of care for the elderly also remains of great concern to this government. We believe strongly that seniors in need of care and protection deserve to be housed in a modern facility that will better cater to their needs. That is why we have picked up where we left off in our efforts to develop a new senior citizens home at Spooners Estate. The development plans have been resubmitted to the Planning Authority for approval, and we are hopeful that the plans will be approved in the coming months to allow for the commencement of construction works. With respect to solid waste management, the Solid Waste Department recently installed a new weight scale at the incinerator plant. This new scale will ensure accuracy in measuring the volume of waste received at the dump site, and will help inform future waste management and recycling initiatives. Additionally, a heavy-duty generator was installed at the incinerator plant to protect the machinery and to ensure that the new incinerator continues to function at optimum capacity during power outages. Turning to the social sector, ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Health and Social Development's emphasis during its first 100 days has been on addressing the needs of two vulnerable groups, the homeless and persons with disabilities. The Ministry of Health and Social Development, through the Social Development Department, has embarked on a project to address the issue of homelessness in the territory. The research phase of this project has commenced, and it is anticipated that by the end of the first quarter, a committee will be commissioned to develop a plan of action to meet the needs of this vulnerable group. In its continued efforts to raise awareness about the subject of disabilities, the Ministry of Health and Social Development released a special documentary in December in commemoration of International Day for Persons with Disabilities. The documentary highlighted the achievements of persons with disabilities living in the Virgin Islands. It was a compilation of highlights featuring the students of the Eslin Henry Racial Learning Center and the BVI Special Olympics team, and other personal interviews. You may also recall that during my inaugural press conference, I made mention of the imminent implementation of a program for persons with autism. I am delighted to announce Cabinet's recent approval of the establishment of an autism program in the Virgin Islands, in partnership with Kingwood Trust in the United Kingdom and the Maria Holder Memorial Foundation based in Barbados. A multi-agency steering committee has been formally established, and the senior officials from Kingwood Trust are currently in the territory carrying out assessments of the client population and conducting other pre-implementation activities. When officially launched, the program will, for the first time in the territory, provide specialized education interventions for children and adults with autism, ensuring that their needs will no longer be unmet. It will also improve local capacity to deal with persons with autism by providing the requisite training and skill building for parents, caregivers, and professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now turn our attention to education and culture, two areas which are the bedrock of any society. In changing the direction of the territory's education system to ensure that our cultural identity is preserved, the Minister for Education and Culture, Honorable Marion Walwyn, on day one, hit the ground running with the annual Culture Week activities. The Culture Minister immediately started championing the need for a territorial dress and territorial song to encapsulate who we are as Virgin Islanders. In swift action, a committee chaired by one of our traditional icons, Miss Eileen Parsons, was put in place, and charged with overseeing a competition between Virgin Islanders to establish a dress and song for the territory. This committee is well underway with the competition and is expected to present the final 2 or 3 in each category for public consultation. This work is expected to be completed by May of this year. Festival is in a few months, and we have already selected new members to serve on the Festival and Fairs Committee. We have charged them with being good stewards of our financial resources, and we have asked them to bring back a strong cultural presence to our activities. Educating our people continues to be critically important to the long-term sustainability of these Virgin Islands, and my government strongly believes that educating our people and preparing them for the world is important to safeguarding our economy. Education is important for improving one's standard of living. It is needed for building a better Virgin Islands, and more importantly, it is pivotal for ensuring a productive Virgin Islands. Several other committees were also formed to look into a number of areas. The committee to look at technical and vocational education and training in the country with a view to making recommendations on the way forward, and the formulation of a TVET policy has also started its work. And the third committee to look at the examination process at the secondary school level with a view to making recommendations on possible changes to improve the process, is almost ready to submit its report. We believe in establishing a seamless education system that promotes key competencies and global competitiveness. At this very early stage in office, the Minister has also begun to visit the public schools of the territory to meet the principals, staff and students, and to also get a first-hand look at the physical plants in order to get an appreciation for the magnitude of school rehabilitation maintenance needed to provide the proper atmosphere for the teaching-learning experience. It was from these visits that the Minister began to make arrangements to outfit the Esalen Henley Racial Learning Center and the BVI Technical Vocational Institute with computers. In the case of the Esalen Henley Racial Learning Center, some special computers have been sourced for those students who are challenged and unable to use a regular computer. The Ivan Dawson School, which has been plagued with flooding for many years, and which has had to be closed as a result many times, is being addressed. The school also has a yard that is sand-filled. Work has begun to put in a drainage system to prevent the classrooms and bathrooms from being flooded, and the yard is also being filled with dirt and planted with grass to make it a better play area for the students. Work will continue throughout the year at other schools. A number of other initiatives are underway or in the planning stages to be launched. In December 2011, the Youth Unemployment Register was implemented when young persons between the ages of 17 and 25 who are unemployed were invited to register with the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports. In addition to physically going into the Department of Youth Affairs, a website was also set up for online registration. Registration is ongoing, but in the initial phase of registration, 490 persons registered with a wide array of experiences and qualifications or lack thereof. Following the registration, 2 consultants were retained to organize and implement a work readiness program from January 23 to February 6, 2012, which took the young people through a series of sessions covering such areas as interview skills, writing resumes, work ethic, dressing for success, application writing, etc. And after 2 weeks of training, a job and career fair was held on February 9, 2012 at the Multipurpose Sports Complex, where employers throughout the territory were invited to come and meet the young unemployed individuals and interview them for possible positions in their organizations. This activity was a huge success, and plans are in train to ensure continuity and sustainability. In collaboration with the YUI initiative, the Ministry of Communication and Works committed to the implementation of an apprenticeship program to place at least 50 youth within this ministry, departments, and statutory agencies in order to provide them with opportunities for training and future employment. My government strongly believes that a collaborative approach by all ministries is important to moving this territory forward. Reading and research are central to any academic institution, and the Minister was very concerned that the library facility at the Elmore South High School was not in a condition conducive to helping our students with research and be on par with their counterparts elsewhere in the region or further afield. The ministry, therefore, very early in December, began plans to immediately retrofit the library facilities at the Elmore South High School. The library will become a full resource center outfitted with computers and internet access, where students will have facilities available to do research not only from hard copies of books, but also on the internet. This will go a long way in helping them to make the school ready for the accreditation process. As a result, This place on Block B has housed the original library along with a room that was once used as a science lab, were gutted and merged into one to provide the space for the resource center. The construction work is expected to be completed by or before the end of February. With an aim to begin to have those who are differently abled more integrated into a society, several plans are being considered for those with special needs. Meetings were held with the parents and caregivers of those with special needs in December to ascertain their opinions on how the ministry could be of more assistance. Among the things highlighted was the need to look at access for those who are physically challenged, more training for teachers to cope with those students with special needs, and to have more inclusive education. The ministry has begun to look at these areas, and a visit to London by the minister in January saw the continuation of the discussions on special education as discussions took place to form collaborations with the Hertfordshire County Council, where assistance can be had with training for teachers. During my trip to London in November for the Overseas Territory Consultative Council meeting, I signed a memorandum of understanding with Hertfordshire County Council, which provides for meaningful exchange in public service, private sector, civil society, and education delivery. This agreement builds on a previously agreed upon sports cooperation between the county and the BVI Olympic Committee. I am pleased to say that since signing the memorandum, the Education Minister has capitalized on this agreement and is moving full speed ahead to train teachers who interact with the special needs population, among other opportunities. The ministry has sought to have a special item in the budget of the ministry dedicated specifically to special education. The meeting in London also covered possible collaborations in the area of technical and vocational education, school governance, and leadership. The latter is an area where discussions have begun and getting help from Hertfordshire County Council to begin the process of helping our school leaders in this area. Sports development is important to us. My government wants our local sports to increase in worldwide popularity. This means sprucing up our local product to attract more competitions, vendors, and tourists. That is why we carried out repairs on the Ellis Thomas Downs ahead of the Triple Crown races, so that the grounds are better prepared to meet the requirements of the competition. We will continue to improve the different sporting facilities throughout the community to boost sports tourism. Let us now turn to the environment. Our environment dictates whether we'll have an improved quality of life or not. I am pleased to say that the Minister for Natural Resources and Labour, Dr. Honorable Kedrick Pickering, has been changing the tide with how we embrace our natural environment and address the different labour perspectives. Already great strides have been made in the public consultation process in the Ministry for Natural Resources and Labour, with a view to ensuring that the people of this territory are treated with fairness in the workplace. As we continue to address the vexing labour matters, you will be pleased to know that we have submitted to the Attorney General's chambers the guidelines as it relates to the drafting of regulations for the Labour Code. We have held a series of meetings to the reform process, and we will continue to have those meetings. Additionally, we are in the final stages of putting together the tribunal that will assist in resolving disputes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are changing the direction of our territory for the better. The views of the public are very important to us in yielding beneficial information. That is why we have embraced a new direction to consult with farmers to ascertain their needs and introduce an agribusiness development legislation. We are currently reviewing the Environmental Management and the Conservation of Biodiversity Bill to ensure the proper management and protection of the natural environment. We are changing the direction to improve what was. We are modernizing the current outdated and segmented legislation. Legislation for the trade in endangered species is also currently being drafted in order to bring our national legislation in this area to international standards. We are currently reviewing the climate change policy with the aim of achieving low-carbon climate resilient development and mainstreaming the territory's adaptation to the effects of climate change. The preservation, conservation, and promotion of our cultural sites are crucial to preserving our historical heritage. That is why we have taken steps to enhance our system of protected areas, the National Park System's Expansion Initiative. This also includes mobilization towards the declaration of additional national park areas, such as Smuggler's Cove, Belmont, and Long Bay Beef Island. Within these first 100 days, we have committed to hosting a summit of Caribbean political and business leaders expressly for the purpose of discussing and endorsing new commitments to the marine and coastal environment within our territory and throughout the Caribbean. We see public-private partnerships being critical to achieving our goals. We have also begun the process of formulating a comprehensive land policy to regulate the distribution of Crown lands for optimal use. Ladies and gentlemen, the subject of airports has been reassigned to the Ministry of Natural Resources since this government assumed office in November 2011. You will be pleased to know that the board has been reconstituted and we are well on the way to the expansion of the airport, which will enhance the BVI's overall tourism product and increase capacity for growth. The requirement for improved and increased airlift to the Virgin Islands is critical to the success of the economy of this territory. To this end, my colleagues and I have made a tentative decision on the most favorable manner in which to proceed in providing this capability, and will be coming soon to the people in a consultation process that is expected to serve as a final process in producing a product that serves and satisfies the need of the people of the Virgin Islands. The ministry has also started a Brandywine Bay Beach rehabilitation as an alternative location for cruise ship passengers to alleviate overcrowding that currently occurs in King Garden Bay. In the same vein, we are in advanced discussions led by the Conservation and Fisheries Department to produce a beach management policy and re-establish the Beach Commission with a view to enhance the management of the territory's beaches. Ladies and gentlemen, as my government continues to look for opportunities to boost sports tourism and fix our tourism product overall, we recognize the need to help prevent, detect, and reduce crime. As such, we continue to work closely with the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force through the National Security Council to ensure the ongoing installation of the CCTV surveillance cameras, which have been mounted in strategic locations on Tortola, and will soon be extended to the sister islands in the future. I congratulate the police officers and look forward to our Community Policing Partnership Program, which we are in support of. My fellow Virgin Islanders and residents of these Virgin Islands, these many initiatives that we have started are just a small part of the bigger stimulant package to move this territory forward. These initiatives have demonstrated a commitment by this government to eradicate the gloomy days to a brighter day. This government holds the view that we cannot merely just sit back and do nothing while the people of this territory suffer, but instead we will make every effort to assist and promote a higher standard of living for the people of the Virgin Islands. In this quest, we accept that we may make mistakes, and in the event that this occurs, we will correct them. But the option of doing nothing will never be considered by this government. We have taken austerity measures to stop us from going down the slippery slope. We have made strategic decisions to change the direction this country is going. We are asking you to stand with us on this journey of recovery. We are committed to being good stewards of our financial resources. We are committed to being prudent because this honest behavior will assist us in getting the territory back again. Without a booming economy, we cannot employ people, and we cannot build a better Virgin Islands. We are a government of action, a government for the people. Thank you.